Okay, so we now go sa breeding system. So I guess we have covered or we have discussed the basic concepts in genetics, the mechanics of inheritance, the Mendelian and non-Mendelian inheritance, as well as the population genetics. And I know that I have discussed in face-to-face yung basic concepts in animal breeding. So we will skip that part. Now we go sa breeding system. Okay, so we now know that um, when we say breeding, it is basically a human intervention process wherein a breeder will select yung um, mga sa kanya is yung best or suitable na mga breeder na mga animals na naaayon doon sa kanyang goal. So like for example, sa pag yung breeder is involved sa laying industry, sa layers, then yung sineselect niya are yung mga, like for example, chickens, na maganda yung traits when it comes to laying. So sineselect niya yung maganda yung egg laying performance, sineselect niya yung maganda yung body structure, mga ganon. Okay? Yun yung breeding. Ngayon, when it comes to breeding, hindi naman sinasabi na, iselect ko na yan, and then tapos na. Okay? In a way, parang ganun yun, pero merong mga iba't ibang system or parang technique, kumbaga, or methods na sinusunod yung mga breeders um, in order to achieve their specific goals. So yun yung i-discuss for this video lecture. So when it comes to mating systems naman, or as breeding system, it what we call it as a strategy of deciding which males and females to breed together. So yeah, a system wherein itong male na ito yung pipiliin ko, and then itong female na ito yung pipiliin ko, i-breed ko together, and then yung mga anak i-breed ko itong specific na breed na ito, itong specific na male na ito. Parang ganun. So it is a strategy. So generally influences the degree of homozygosity in the population just because when we say homozygosity, basically the same allele in the genotype. So just because ano, you are selecting na yung mga specific na mga animals in the population and wala nang random mating na nagaganap. Kaya ini-increase niya actually yung homozygosity in the population. Now, in the breeding system, we have two. So, we have two sa breeding system. We have the inbreeding na tinatawag at saka yung outbreeding na tinatawag. So, dalawang general system, classification of breeding system. Um, Inbreeding at saka outbreeding. So, ano nga ba yung inbreeding? Ano nga ba yung outbreeding? Titignan natin pero more or less para hindi malito pag inbreeding within the family, kumbaga in the family. And then when it comes to outbreeding, outside the family, pwedeng ganun, outside the breed, kumbaga, so same species pero outside the breed, parang ganun yung outbreeding naman. Pero anyway, we will discuss that one by one. Okay, so we have here what we call as inbreeding. So mating of related individuals can also occur in small close populations. So basically inbreeding closely related individuals. So again, inside the family. So we have what we call as line breeding at saka close breeding. Okay, these are subclasses or subclassification ng inbreeding natin. So when we say line breeding, less closely related animals. So they are still related pero hindi na ganun ka-close. Hindi na, like for example, tight-knit. Hindi na ganun ka-tight-knit, kumbaga. So basically, line breeding, maybe, in a sense, cousin to cousin. Yung magpinsan na animal, pwedeng ganun. Yung magtito, tita na animal, kumbaga. So that's line breeding. When we say close breeding naman, in the word itself, close, more closely related. So examples are brothers and sisters. So meaning, you select the brother and then you mate it with the sister. Parang ganun yung close breeding. So that's inbreeding, basically within the family itself. So yung sinabi ko kanina, yung main effect ng inbreeding is it increases homozygosity because family, basically magkakadugo yung minimate mo, and then same genes, same yung mga naipapasa. So basically, na-increase yung homozygosity. Can be homozygous dominant or homozygous recessive. And then because it increases homozygosity, this in turn will reduce genetic variation. Wala ka ng ibang makikitang itsura, kumbaga. Kasi yun at yun yung mga brinibreed mo. Yung mga nasa family, yun yung mga brinibreed mo. Okay? Kaya wala ka nang makikita. Like for example, sabihin na lang natin, within the population, magkakapamilya sila, kulay black lahat sila. So, syempre, in a sense, since nag-increase yung homozygosity, uh, kulay black din yung mga offspring. Higher chances na kulay black din yung mga offspring. So wala ka na makikitang ibang kulay, wala ka na makikitang brown, wala ka na makikitang white. So basically, wala nang variation when it comes to coat color, kumbaga. Okay? So yan yung main effect. Ano yung consequence when it comes to inbreeding? Possible exposure of undesirable recessive gene combination because it increases homozygosity, yung mga gene combinations natin, like yung mga abnormalities natin na karaniwan hindi naman nagpapakita because they are homozygous recessive, nagpapakita yan when there is inbreeding involved kasi nga it increases homozygosity. It increases the chance na yung mga traits, abnormal traits that are homozygous recessive in nature and usually hindi na ipapakita because merong present ng dominant allele. In this case, sa inbreeding, wala higher chances na may mabubong homozygous recessive na genotype, then nagpapakita yon. Nagpapakita yung mga undesirable recessive gene combinations na yon. Kaya nga, yan yung reason why inbreeding is not recommended for ordinary farmers. Yun yung palaging sinasabi, hindi pwede na ganito, hindi pwedeng inbreeding. Mas maganda yung crossbreeding, outbreeding because of heterosis, mga ganon. Which is true, actually. If you do not have the capacity, if you do not have the resources and the technical expertise, do not attempt to do inbreeding. So, if you're an ordinary farmer who, in a way, yung goal mo lang is to increase productivity, you are better practicing outbreeding or crossbreeding instead of inbreeding. Kaya hindi nila ginagawa yun or hindi nire-recommend yung inbreeding sa mga ordinary farmers. Okay? Emphasis sa ordinary farmers because it is still important sa mga breeders, especially those large companies that are maintaining pure lines to do inbreeding. Okay? So, aside from that, you also have inbreeding depression na tinatawag. So please take note of the technical term na inbreeding depression. Anong ibig sabihin ng inbreeding depression? Basically, lowered phenotypic performance due to fewer dominance effects of dominance effect or gene interaction effect. So basically, because of the homozygosity na na-increase because of inbreeding, fewer na din yung dominance effect or gene interaction effect that will result to yung mga productive traits natin. Wala na yung mga yun. Kaya merong inbreeding depression na tinatawag. Okay, so yan. Yan yung ano natin when it comes to inbreeding. So, outbreeding naman, mating between animals less closely related than the average of the group to which they belong. So, yan. Less closely related to in a point na hindi na siya ganun ka, hindi na nararamdaman, kumbaga, yung effect ng inbreeding or wala ng inbreeding depression na nagaganap. So, main effect, increases heterozygosity since hindi na within family yung pagbibreed mo. And then, ito yung dapat na sinusunod ng mga farmers natin that yung main goal is to increase productivity. So, ang main effect kasi ng outbreeding, laging tatandaan, is what we call as heterosis or hybrid vigor. Ano nga ba yung heterosis or hybrid vigor? Basically, yung trait or characteristic productive trait ng nanay at saka tatay uh, uh, nagtipon, nag-merge kumbaga, and then naipasa dun sa anak. Ngayon, yung anak, mas productive na siya. So, yun yung heterosis or hybrid vigor. The characteristic is of the offspring is much better compared to the characteristics of the parents. So, like for example, sa growth rate or like for example sa FCR, mas mababa kasi kung mas mababa yung FCR, mas productive. So, mas mababa yung FCR ng offspring compared or in relation to the FCR of the male and female parent. So, meaning mas maganda yung FCR ng offspring. Ganon yung heterosis or hybrid vigor. And na-achieve mo ito if you are practicing yung outbreeding na tinatawag. So, on that we have what we call as outcrossing, line crossing, and crossbreeding. So, sub-classifications natin ng outbreeding. So, first sa outcrossing, mating of unrelated animals within a particular breed. Okay? Unrelated sila, pero again, they are within the particular breed. So, like for example, large white and large white. Pareha silang large white, but they are not related to each other. So, that is outcrossing. When we say line crossing, basically that's almost the same as outcrossing but from different inbred lines. So um, large white to large white pa rin, and then pero again from different na lines na ng inbred lines. And then crossbreeding naman, mating of animals from different breeds, like for example Dorok and large white. So yan yung crossbreeding na tinatawag. Okay? So usually ito dapat yung pinapractice. Itong crossbreeding at saka itong outcrossing or line crossing as long as they are not related to each other. So if you want to take advantage of the like for example uh, good characteristics ng sire mo or yung male parent mo as well as the good characteristic of your female parent, pipili ka ng male, like for example dito sa example na ito, male na pig na maganda yung growth rate at saka female na pig na maganda din yung growth rate as well as like for example mothering ability. So yan. So napili mo yung Doro, i-cross mo sa large white. Ganun. Okay? Now, sa crossbreeding, madami tayong mga subsystem when it comes to crossbreeding. So we have yung terminal SAR system at yung mga rotational uh, system na tinatawag. So sa terminal SAR system, static terminal system at saka rotational terminal system. Yun yung dalawang type or sub-classification niya under this system. So, basically, when it comes to terminal SAR system, terminal, when we say terminal, parang endpoint. And then when we say SAR, that is basically a male parent. So, endpoint niya ng breeding mo is yung i-breed mo siya or yung huling gagawin mo is i-breed mo siya sa isang male parent. So, maternal breed females are mated to paternal breed males. Yan yung terminal SAR system. Terminal SAR females are not kept as a replacement but are sold as slaughter animals. Meaning, after mo siya breed doon sa isang SAR, um, lahat ng mga lahat ng mga na-produce mo na offspring, ibebenta mo. Okay? So, hindi mo na siya i-rotate back into your system. So, produce sufficient amount of hybrid vigor and its important attribute is breed complementarity. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, maganda siya kasi nga you are choosing a maternal breed female, like for example, large white, and a paternal breed female, which like for example, Doro, they will have sufficient amount of hybrid vigor. Maganda, kumbaga, yung kalalabasan ng kanilang anak. And its important attribute is breed complementarity because you are choosing um, breeds, maternal breeds, at saka paternal breeds na compatible with each other. So, yan. And then, when it comes to rotational system, generations of females are rotated among sire breeds in such a way that they are mated to sires where breed composition is most different from their own. So, produce replacement females internally yet manage to maintain levels of hybrid vigor by limiting backcrossing. So, yung pagkakaibahan ni rotational system compared to sa terminal SAR system, yung sinabi ko kanina, when it comes to terminal SAR system, mayroong endpoint wherein lahat ng mga offspring um, will be marketed. Sa rotational system, you will choose um, female breeders na maganda that you will rotate back to your sire breeders. So basically, i-keep mo siya as breeder and then i-mate mo ulit siya doon sa mga sire breeds mo or yung mga male breeders mo. Okay? So, yan yung rotational. So, mag-rotate, kumbaga. So, yan. Okay, so when it comes to the terminal SAR system, we have what we call as static terminal system, wherein the breed composition, like for example, ilan yung 50% na may um, homozygous dominant, 50% na merong homozygous recessive, mga ganun. That's breed composition does not change over time as it does with the rotational system just because may endpoint siya and hindi na niro-rotate back yung mga offspring na naproproduce after the terminal breed is mated with the female. Replacement females are either purchased or produced from separate purebred population. So yan, wala kang ikikip na breeder doon sa mga ipoproduce mo na um, anong tawag nito? Sa mga ipoproduce mo na offspring. Lahat yan ibebenta mo. So saan ka kukuha ng mga breeders mo? Bibili ka sa iba. Okay? Hindi doon sa population mo, hindi doon sa herd mo. Okay? So we have 2 breed crossing, back crossing, 3 breed crossing, and 4 breed terminal crossing. Yun yung mga types ng static terminal system. Basta laging tatandaan, static siya, kaya it does not change. And terminal siya because there is an endpoint wherein all of the offspring um, are marketed. Kumbaga, binebenta mo na. So, first will be two-breed crossing, pinakamadali. Kumbaga, all crossbred progeny are sold. Purebred replacement females have to be purchased or produced in another herd and then take advantage of heterosis. So, kung titignan, itong nasa diagram, you have a pool of breed A. So, 100% siya na breed A and then cow of breed B, which is 100% breed B. Okay, so male and female, um, imemate mo, and then you have your first filial generation progeny or anak, kumbaga, wherein meron ka na nung tinatawag na heterosis or hybrid vigor. Kasi meron ka ng genes coming from your father and meron ka ng genes coming from your mother. So, basically, nag-improve na yung genetic composition mo. Meron ng hybrid vigor na naganap wherein your traits are better compared to your mother or your father. Okay? Yan lang, ganyan lang. So, anong mangyayari dito sa F1 uh, crossbred progeny natin on a two-breed crossing? Basically, ibebenta mo yan. Huwag mo nang ikip, ibebenta lahat yan. Okay? Then we have back crossing na tinatawag. Ano naman yung back crossing? So, nasa name itself, the mating of crossbred females with one of the parent purebred. So, yung na produce mo daw, i-back-cross mo doon sa parent. So, it is repeatable, more uniform set of progeny since binak-cross mo na siya again to the parent. The back-cross is obtained where all the females from a two-breed crossing are mated to a purebred bull of either of the original breed. So, tignan natin. Ito yung ano mo, um, male parent mo, bull of breed A, and then cow of breed B. You mate them together and then you produce yung female progeny. F1 female, let's take for example F1 female progeny with 50% A and then 50% B. Okay? Ngayon, breed A and breed B. Ngayon, if ito lang yung titignan mo, that's your two-breed crossing. Pero because of back crossing, you mate the female progeny or yung offspring na na-produce mo back to the bull of either breed. So, pwedeng breed A, like for example, breed A. So, i-mate mo ulit siya. So, sa breed sa breed niya ulit na parehas sa breed ng male or yung female. Okay? So, in this case, a bull from breed A, yung ano natin, i-mate natin. And then, with that, nakaka-produce ka ng what we call as back-cross progeny wherein because yung F1 female progeny mo na mayroong 50% na genes na breed A, 50% B, and then you backcross it with the breed A with 100%, then you will have 75% gene composition coming from the breed A and then 25% coming from the breed B. And then anong gagawin dito sa backcross progeny natin? Ima-market sila. Okay, ima-market mo yung mga yan. So, basically, that's back-crossing na tinatawag. Okay, so for three-breed crossing naman, basically three-breed terminal cross, again, may endpoint, kumbaga. Hindi na niro-rotate back. So, kung sa two-breed crossing, dalawa lang. Sa three-breed crossing, tatlo. Okay, so all triple crossbred progeny are sold. Basically, it yields the maximum heterosis because meron ka ng tatlo na breed. Okay, so take advantage of maternal and individual heterosis and of the complementary of the three breeds natin. So, all of the females from a two-breed crossing are mated to a bull of a third unrelated breed. So, yan. Yan yung key concept doon. So, first, bull of breed A, which is 100%, will again be mated to a cow breed B, which is 100%, and then you can produce a F1 na progeny, which is 50% A and then 50% B. So, yung female progeny in that F1 progeny or in that offspring will be mated to a third breed, which is in this case a bull of breed C. So, meron ka ng pangatlo na breed. So, breed A, breed B, at saka breed C. So, tinatawag itong terminal SAR because it will end here yung breeding process na. Kasi yung mga anak na nila will be what we call as the three-breed cross progeny. Wherein, meron ka ng 25% A, 25% B, and then 50% C. So, ang gagawin mo na dito sa three-breed crossing na is yung progeny nila, three-breed cross progeny, ima-market mo na lahat sila. Okay? So, yan yung three-breed crossing na sinasabi. For the four-breed terminal cross naman or top crossing na tinatawag, so you have two specialized crosses that will be produced. So four-breed na siya pero hindi in a way na yung sa three-breed crossing kasi yung breed C at saka yung breed C krinos mo doon sa anong tawag nito? Doon sa progeny nung breed A at saka breed B. And then if we follow that same pattern, yung ano nila, progeny nila, dapat i-cross mo din doon sa breed D. Pero hindi yon yung four-breed terminal cross na tinatawag. So sa four-breed terminal cross, you actually have two specialized crosses. Dalawa. So, like for example, dito, you have breed A at saka breed B. You mate them with each other. So, that's one cross, one mating. And then you have your breed C at saka breed D. You cross them with each other. That's the second na cross or mating. So, you have two specialized crosses. So, each cross results to 100% of the heterosis effect being present. So, basically, yung kanilang progeny sa cross mo between breed A and breed B at saka yung progeny nila na krinos mo between the breed C and breed D, yun na yung ipagmematan mo. Okay? So like for example, um, i-mate mo, maternal sana yung isa, maternal line. Sabihin na lang natin itong part na to, paternal line, wherein lahat ng female progenies i-market mo, and dito, maternal line, wherein the male progenies are marketed, and then you mate them with each other, you produce a progeny with 25% A, 25% B, 25% C, and 25% D. So, yan. All progenies are then marketed. So, ganyan yung four-breed terminal cross. So, yan. Yan yung four-breed terminal cross na tinatawag or what we call a stop crossing. So sa rotational terminal system naman, designed to solve the replacement problems inherent in static terminal system. So, um, basically kasi sa static terminal system, since you end at hindi mo na niro-rotate, you need to purchase breeder animals na naman ulit from different uh, breeders from different farms. So, added expenses po kumbaga, um, sa rotational kasi, since you are rotating, kumbaga, yung mga breeders mo, you are keeping parang a herd doon sa animal mo or you are keeping breeders doon sa mga ano mo, sa mga animals. So, sa mga herds mo, okay? So, combine the attributes of the rotational and terminal parts. Combine a maternal rotation for producing replacement. So, yan yung sinusolve niya. And then provide a more hybrid vigor and breed complementarity than that of the rotational systems. So, produce two kinds of animals, maternal and terminal, that are likely to be quite different from each other. So, yan. Basically, nagtipon nga rotational system and terminal system. So, kung titignan, we have what we call as criss-crossing or two-breed rotational crossing. So, this is, sabihin na nating simplest example for that. Basically, requires a minimum of 2 breeding pasture herd. So, mayroon kang herd 1 at saka mayroon kang herd 2. So, dalawang pasture breeding herd yan. Produce its own replacement female kasi kukuha ka lang doon sa kabilang herd na imimate mo doon sa another herd, and then yung second herd mo, kukuha ka ng replacement female na imimate mo doon uh, sa herd 1. So basically, mayroong criss-crossing na magaganap kasi kukuha ka sa herd 1, imimate mo sa herd 2, kukuha ka sa herd 2, imimate mo sa herd 1, so mayroong criss-crossing na magaganap. Kaya nga, criss-crossing yung tawag. And then, yield less heterosis than three breed crossing system. And then the two breeds utilized must be reasonably compatible in biological type. So basically, kung titignan natin, you have your herd 1, and then you have your herd 2. So dalawa dapat na breeding pasture herd. Minimum. So you have your breed A dito, and then you have your breed B. Yung breed A mo, yan yung lalaki. Yung breed B mo, dam, which is the babae. And then doon sa herd 2, baliktad. Yung SAR, yung breed B mo, yun yung SAR. And then yung breed A mo, yun yung dam. Okay? Baliktad lang. And then you produce, nag-make sila, nakaproduce ka ng 50% A, 50% B sa herd 1. And then minake mo doon yung mga sa herd 2, nakaproduce ka ng 50% B and then 50% A na females. Ngayon, dito na yung criss-crossing na magaganap. Yung sa herd 2 na progeny, imimate mo siya from breed A. Imimate mo siya kay breed A from herd 1. From herd 1 SAR. So saan galing yung breed A na SAR? Dito. So yan, nandyan na siya. Okay? Ngayon, si progeny mo na female sa herd 1, imimate mo siya sa breed B from herd 2 SAR. So dito naman sa breed B. So saan galing? Dito sa part na to. So pupunta siya dyan. So kung makikita, meron ng cross na naganap. Criss-crossing na naganap. Okay? Ngayon, you repeat that same pattern. I-mate mo ulit sila. Mag-mate ulit sila. You produce now 25% A, 75% B. Okay? Na females. And then doon sa herd 2, ganun din. 25% B, 75% A na female. Ngayon, you repeat the same pattern. Basically, imimate mo, sa herd 1, imimate mo yung na-produce mo na female progeny doon sa breed A sire. Okay, breed A sire. Saan galing yung breed A sire? Dito mismo sa herd 1. So, dyan, ganyan. Okay? Ngayon, dito naman sa kabila, breed B. Breed B, imimate mo siya sa breed B sire. So, saan galing yan? Dito. Okay, so pag ganon, and then pag ganon, then pag ganon ulit, pa-cross ulit. And then, imimate mo silang dalawa, nakabuo ka na ng 62.5% A and 37.5% B. Same goes sa herd 2 natin. Ganon din yung breed composition. Ngayon, yung mga female na progeny na yun, imimate mo ulit siya sa breed B na galing sa herd 2. And then doon sa herd 2 naman, yung mga progenies na na-produce mo na female, imimate mo ulit sila sa breed A from na galing sa herd 1. So basically, ganyan yung mangyayari ulit. Merong criss-crossing na mangyayari. Okay? So you repeat the same pattern for that. Magme-mate sila and then you cross it with one another. So, merong criss-cross pattern na magaganap. And then, basically, meron ka ng 33, at the end of it all, meron ka ng 33.33% na breed A, 67.67% na breed B. Sa herd 2 naman, 33.33% na breed B, and then 67.67% na breed A. So, that's your criss-crossing na tinatawag. Okay? So, klaro. Klaro tayo dyan. So anyway, if you have any question, then please feel free to ask me in person or sa messenger. Now, we have what we call as three-breed rotation. Three-breed rotation naman, breed A SARs are exposed to breed B females, resulting to a 50% or 1/2 A, 1/2 B, 50% A, 50% B females. So these two breed cross females are then mated to SARs from breed C. So meron ka ng tatlo na breeds na niro-rotate mo, resulting in the production of 1/4 or 1/4 A, 1/4 B, and then 1/4 C females, which are then bred to breed B SARs. Okay, so kung titignan natin dito, you have your breed A na lalaki, and then breed B na babae, sabihin na lang natin ganun, and then you produce 50% A, 50% B na replacement female, and then you breed them sa breed C SAR, sa third na breed. So, pag minate mo yan, you can produce 25% A, 25% B, and then 50% C. These are your replacement females again. So, you rotate back to your breed B SAR. I-mate mo ulit siya sa breed B SAR mo. Now, you will produce 12.5% A, 2.5% B, 25% C. Okay? Now, yung mga replacement females dito, i-mate mo ulit siya sa breed A sire mo. Okay? So, babalik ka ulit sa breed A sire mo. And then, you will come up with a breed composition again, or makakaproduce ka ng progeny na merong 56.25% A, 31.25% B, and then 12.5% C. Then, you mate it again with breed C sire. Mimate mo ulit siya sa breed C sire. to produce another progeny with a breed composition of 28.125% A, 15.625% B, and then 56.25% C. Now, the last step is to breed it again with breed D. Okay, so you have breed composition of 58% A, 28% B, and then 14% C. So, basically, this will stabilize yung three breed cross na tinatawag. Okay, now we have what we call as four breed rotation. So, as the name implies, meron kang apat na breeds na. So, breed A SARS are bred initially to breed B females resulting to a 50% A, 50% B. These are your replacement females. So, these two breed cross female, itong progeny na ito, are then mated to breed C SAR, which then results to a 1/4 A, 1/4 B, 1/4 C females, which are then bred to breed T SARS. So the resulting ano na is 1/8 A, 1/8 B, 1/4 C, and then 1/2 D. So replacement females are then mated to breed D SARS. Okay, so tignan natin. Ganun lang naman. Nag-mate si breed A at saka si breed B, you produce replacement females that are 50% A, 50% B. You mate them with breed C SAR to produce replacement females that are 25% A, 25% B, and then 50% C. So after that, you mate them with breed D sire, that's your fourth breed, to produce 12.5% A, 12.5% B, 25% C, and then 50% D. Now, those replacement females are then bred again or mated again to breed B sire, which produce a stabilized four-breed cross, which have 53% A, 27% B, 13% C, and then 7% D. So basically, that's your last na progeny na maproproduce mo before you market them. So, that's for breed rotation na tinatawag. And then last on that is yung grading up na tinatawag. So, ano naman yung grading up na tinatawag? So, breeding of animals of two different breeds. Yan yung grading up. Where the animals of an indigenous breed genetic group is mated by an improved pure breed for several generations. So towards attaining the superior traits of improved breed. So basically, yung grading up na yan, breeding of two different breeds, pero specifically, indigenous breed. Ang parang ano na yan, concept niyan, ini-improve mo yung indigenous breed. Okay? To attain a more superior traits. So, mas maganda na yung mga progeny nila. So, yan yung grading up. So, ina-upgrade mo, kumbaga, yung indigenous breed na yun. So, yan yung, ano natin, grading up na tinatawag. Okay, so, for the next topic is on genetic improvement. So, lahat ng mga diniscuss ko, lahat ng mga sinabi ko, um, di rin naman parang effective. Like for example, yung breeding system, hindi naman effective yun if wala kang makikitang improvement when it comes to its um, yung genetic profile or yung composition ng animal. So, when it comes to breeding kasi, one thing is that one goal is for you to improve its genes or genetic composition for the better. So, kung mas maganda yung um, traits na gusto mo, then dapat magbabago yung genes niya. Okay? Magbabago yung genetic composition niya. So first, here we have the basic breeding structure. Basically, um, yung mga nakikita lang kasi nating farm, like for example, sa mga babuyan, sa mga piggery, yun yung commercial. Okay? Yun yung commercial na ano natin, itong part na to. Yan usually yung nakikita natin. And ito yung pinaka-common. Kasi nga, when it comes to commercial, yung ginagawa is they raise the animal, um, and then once na na-achieve na nila yung slaughter weight, then they um, market it, binebenta or ini-slaughter nila. So yun yung commercial, yun yung commercial farm. Basically for profit by selling yung kanilang mga baboy. Ngayon, meron tayo above that, we have what we call as multiplier farm.
So ano nga ba yung multiplier farm? Yung multiplier farm, ito yung nagsusupply ng mga stocks papunta sa commercial farm. Yun yung purpose. Sa more multiplier farm, hindi sila mismo yung nagbebenta ng mga baboy for consumption. Sila yung nagbebenta ng mga baboy na ginagamit ngayon ng mga commercial farms. So, with that being said, iba yung parehas sila na dapat proper yung management practice na ginagawa, yung management na ginagawa. But when it comes to multiplier farm, there is emphasis on the technicalities when it comes to breeding, when it comes to maintaining yung breed, yung pure breed na ginagamit nila na baboy. There's also much more biosecurity measures, I guess. Kasi nga yung ginagamit ng mga baboy dito sa multiplier farm are those that are expensive because they are purebreds and they have good traits or characteristics. So yun yung ginagamit. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na hindi ganun yung ginagamit sa commercial farm, but they sa multiplier farm, they are maintaining a level of quality na ine-expect mo na pag bumili ka ng baboy sa kanila, maganda na. Okay? Na walang palya, kumbaga. Okay? So, yun yung multiplier farms natin. They are the ones supplying sa commercial farm. And then, for nucleus farm, dito lahat nangyayari or dito lahat galing. Yung large white landrace, mga ganon, sa nucleus farm nang galing or nanggagaling as they are the ones that breed, maintain that breed. Kumbaga, like for example, if large white, then they are maintaining um, yung mga large white breeds that are up to the standards talaga for large white. Kung ano yung characteristic ng isang large white, yun dapat yung minemaintain nila. Okay, so usually they are the ones that will supply the multiplier farms with the breeds, with the pure breeds na kailangan nila. Okay, so yan yung basic structure ng ating, basic breeding structure ng sa animal breeding. So it applies to all of the livestock animals natin. Now, when it comes to designing and the evaluation of improvement plan, let's take for example, una dito. Say, because it is a cycle. Pero again, let's start first on the breeding objectives. So, yung gagawin mo when it comes to designing and evaluating yung genetic improvement plan is to look or to, let's just say, um, i-establish mo muna yung mga breeding objectives na gusto mo. Again, hindi lang naman iisa yung objectives mo. Yung pinaka-common actually is to increase the productivity of the animal. Okay, so yun yun. Pero again, hindi lang naman yun yung breeding objectives mo. Like for example, if you want to maintain this percentage of genetic composition uh, ng breed A and breed B for your animal, then dapat yun nasa breeding objectives. Like for example, if you want to upgrade this certain indigenous breed, dapat nasa objectives mo yun. So, iba-iba yung objectives per farm, I guess. So, kailangan ma-establish mo muna yung breeding objectives and then you may go sa animal performance recording. So, based on the objectives that you have, then doon mo set kung ano yung mga criteria, ano yung mga parameters na kailangan mo, na kailangan mong i-record. When it comes to its growth, sa objective mo, sinabi mo na dapat maganda to aim for higher milk production, then dapat sa pag um, pag-record mo ng kanilang animal performance, dapat meron kang record sa kanilang milk production, sa quality ng milk, mga ganun. Okay? Then after that, you can go sa selection criteria na. So sa based on the established na mga records or parameters that you want, then you can select. Ito maganda ito kasi based on my recording, um, ito yung animal na pasok dito sa data or dito sa parameter na meron ako. So you select you set up a criteria na that will be your guide when it comes to selection na. Hindi ka pa magse-select mismo, pero based on the records or data that you have, you come up with a criteria na, like for example, dapat yung animal na ito will have a growth rate of like this, dapat yung FCR niya is around 2.1, mga ganon. Okay, so yon, you set up a criteria so that it will be your guide once na magse-select ka na, which is yon yung sunod, selection and mating. So, based on the criteria that you have, you select. Magse-select ka ngayon ng mga animals na pasok doon sa standard mo, doon sa criteria mo. Okay? Then, you disseminate yung mga, because of the selection and mating that you have done, and then you evaluate yung mga performance ng mga na-disseminate, and then you put up or put them in a, like for example, specific production system, then you evaluate them according to it. So, yun yung design and evaluation of genetic improvement program. Okay, when it comes to genetic improvements, there are considerations when it comes to the animal breeding itself. First, for selective breeding to be successful, it is essential that the trait under selection is heritable. So, noon na-discuss ko face-to-face that there are specific traits that are heritable. Hindi lahat is pare-parehas yung percentage na ma na pwedeng i-inherit, kumbaga, or pwedeng mamana ng kanilang offspring. Like, for example, for mga reproductive traits, they are at a low sa percentage when it comes to heritability. So, pero again, make sure na heritable yung trait na tina-target mo. Then, animals have different genetic background so that selection is possible. So, yan yung kung like for example, pare-parehas lang naman sila ng trait, pare-parehas sila ng phenotypic characteristic, then may hirapan kang mag-select kung sino talaga yung maganda. So, the animals should have different genetic backgrounds for selection to work or for selection to take place. Then the direction of selection is defined by humans, and they decide which animals are allowed to mate and produce members of the next generation. Kaya nga when it comes to animal breeding, there is human intervention. So when it comes to the direction of selection, meron kasing mga directional selection, stabilizing selection, diversifying selection at sinasabi, wherein nasa next slide. Pero ano ba yung goal ng isang breeder? Ito bang specific traits lang yung gusto niyang i-improve, yung gusto niyang makita, then yun yung direction ng selection niya. Okay? So, kumbaga, nasa kamay na nung breeder yung mangyayari doon sa genetic composition ng succeeding generations. Then, success of animal breeding can be judged by looking at a shift in population average phenotype from one generation to the next. So, yan. Makikita mo lang na successful yung animal breeding mo if there is a change, kumbaga, doon sa characteristics or average phenotype ng mga animals within a population from one generation to the next. So, ang ano kasi ng animal breeding, it is not merely nag-select ka na, then you expect it na meron ng result the following generation. Hindi. Okay? So, kailangan, or you expect it na agad-agad may makikita kang mga differences, significant differences when it comes to the phenotype of the animal. So, it is a long process, kumbaga. So, kailangan talaga na committed when it comes to animal breeding. Then, success of animal breeding can be measured as a cumulative result of multiple generations of selection. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, hindi lang dapat sa iisang animal, specific one organism or one animal ka lang titingin if the animal breeding is successful or not. It is a cumulative result meaning lahat dapat ng mga animals mo within a populations that undergone animal breeding, whether ano man yung system na yan, should be taken into consideration. And then, hindi lang one generation, across entire multiple generations. So doon walang makikita if nag-shift yung phenotype nila, nag-shift yung genetic composition nila for the better or for uh, para ma-meet yung objectives mo, then masasabi mo na successful yung animal breeding. Okay? So, animal breeding itself is the main tool for genetic improvement of farm animals. The objective actually is to increase the frequency of desirable genes. Yun naman, hindi ka naman mag-breed ng animals, kumbaga, to increase the frequency of undesirable genes that may promote or that may result to unproductivity or even abnormality sa animal. Hindi naman. So yung objectives mo sa animal breeding is to increase the frequency of desirable genes. So, aside from that, it does not create new genes. Okay? Laging tatandaan yan. Nasa ano na mismo, nasa animal na mismo. Yung ano lang ng animal breeding is tina-target niya yung or yung parang goal lang ng animal breeding or animal breeder is to target those specific genes within an animal that he or she deemed as productive, that he or she deemed as desirable. Okay? Then, dyan papasok yung natural selection versus artificial selection na tinatawag. Sa natural selection kasi, basically survival of the fittest, um, wherein the environment actually into place as well as his genes kung ano yung sino yung mabubuhay, sino yung maaalaw na mag-breed versus yung artificial selection wherein there is human intervention na. Wherein um, I guess there is a controlled environment and yung inaano mo na lang talaga, tinitignan mo na lang talaga is yung um, mismong animal na. Sineselect mo na lang yung mismong animal na. Okay? So, yan. Yan yung ating animal breeding. Considerations in animal breeding. Okay, so ito yung ano, parang type of natural selection na tinatawag. So, meron tayong directional selection, stabilizing selection, diversifying selection na tinatawag. So, first, when it comes to ano kasi, natural selection, it means some traits help organisms survives better. So, because they can survive, they are the ones that are actually the ones that have the opportunity to mate with each other, since they have the traits to survive. So those traits become more common over time. Yung mga traits na ano na that they yung mga traits na na-allow para makasurvive ay yun din yung magiging common kasi yun yung naipapasa nila. Okay? So, the graph shows, like for example, yung x-axis trait. So, yung trait ng individual and then yung y-axis, that's the number of individuals. So, first natin is yung directional selection. So, ang ibig sabihin kasi ng directional selection, one side is favored. Okay? One side is favored while the other is selected. Or selected against. So, yan yung ano natin, directional selection natin. So, kung titignan yung graph kasi, ito lang yung favored dito sa part na to. And the other side, hindi na siya favored, kumbaga. Okay? So, ano yung ibig sabihin nito or ano yung result na to? The whole population shift in one direction lang. Okay? So, sa isang direction lang sila pupunta. So, a simple example for this, if bigger chickens grow faster, farmers keep selecting bigger birds. Okay? So, kasi nga, um, tinitignan nila, malaki ito, madaling lumaki. So, ito yung isa-select ko. Okay? Ito yung mga isa-select kong bigger birds. Over time, population becomes mostly large birds. Okay? Kasi nga, yun at yun yung sineselect ng farmer. So, nag-shift lang towards one direction yung selection na or yung ano nila, yung trait nila. Okay, so yan. In the graph, nakikita that the curve moves to the left. Okay, so it moves to the left, uh, meaning one extreme or one side is good and the other might be bad. Okay, so yan yung ano ng directional selection. It shifts toward an extreme or at the end point of the graph, meaning nagfo-focus lang sa isang type, sa isang phenotype na I guess is good. Okay, then you have your stabilizing selection. So ang stabilizing selection naman, the average is favored, meaning nasa gitna siya, hindi siya nasa extreme. Okay, nasa gitna siya, nandito siya, hindi siya nandito sa left side, pinaka-left side, hindi rin siya nandito sa pinaka-right side. So, anong mangyayari pag ganito? The middle or the average rate is the best. So, because both extremes are not favored. Dito sa directional selection kasi, nag-shift towards siya sa left kasi nakikita na yung extreme point or yung end point ng graph natin is nandoon yung magagandang traits. Sa stabilizing selection, nasa average na siya. Meaning yung extreme points or yung end point ng left side at saka right side are undesirable traits. And yung average niya, yung maganda. Okay? The middle mismo yung maganda. So, ang result dito sa stabilizing selection, the population becomes more uniform. Less variations. Hindi na siya extremely large or extremely small. They can be uniform kasi nasa middle na siya. So, yan. And then you have your diversifying or what we call also as disruptive selection. So both extremes are favored naman. So hindi na lang siya naglilin towards isang extreme or end. Hindi rin na rin siya nandun sa middle. Kumbaga yung selection nila is it favors both side of the graph. So both extreme traits are favored. So meaning the average is selected again. So kung makikita dito, makikita na it is selected against the average. So yan. Yan yung tinitignan and then sa average hindi na. Wala kang makikita peak, kumbaga. Okay, hindi ko na na aksidente kung na in next slide pero yon I guess I hope na gets ninyo yung sinasabi ko when it comes to the diversifying selection. Hindi na siya um, hindi na muna sineselect yung average, kundi sineselect mo yung dalawang endpoint, yung extreme. And it will result to two groups na. Two groups from the left, then two groups from the right. Yun yung diversifying or disruptive selection. Okay? Now, in this slide, makikita yung um, basically, selection kasi causes changes in the gene frequency. Okay? Um, nasabi ko na yan when it comes to the population genetics under or sa Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. So, nagkukos ng changes sa gene frequency if there are interventions or if there are external factors. And one of those factors actually is yung selection. So, itong changes na ito can be measured using yung R. Kunana dito, ito yung R. So, yung R is actually response to selection na tinatawag. So, before that, we have yung mga key terminologies natin. Itong isang ito, mean of the parent population. Yan yung ibig sabihin niyan. Ito. Mean of the parent population. Itong merong P. Okay? Yan. Then, yung merong O, that is the mean of the offspring. Okay? So, yan. So, in order to know the response of the selection, you need to first take the difference between the mean of the offspring as well as the mean of the selected or mean of the parent population. Okay? So think of it like this. Before selection, um, makikita na may before selection, makikita na um, ganito yung gene frequency niya. Then, after selection, since meron ng offspring na makikita, then re-record mo din yung gene frequency, malalaman mo na. Malalaman mo na if nag-respond ba yung selection or not. Since you now have data for the gene frequency for the offspring as well as the gene frequency ng parent ng parents. And if you take the difference of the two, then yun yung response ng selection. Okay? So, yan. Now, we have what we call as yung response is influenced by artificial selection, natural differences of fertility among individuals, as well as natural differences in the viability among individuals. Okay, so yan. Yan yung ano natin. Yan yung R natin, response to selection na tinatawag. Ngayon, meron din tayo nitong S. Ano nga ba yung S? Itong S na to. Itong part na to. Yan. So, ang um, S na yan, that is what we call a selection differential. So, yung formula niyan is the mean of the selection or mean of the selected offspring minus mean of the or mean of the selected parents minus mean of the parent population. Itong mean of the selected parents minus mean of the parent population. Then makukuha mo na yung selection differential. Okay? Ang inaano lang nitong formula na to, itong selection differential is how much better are the selected animals compared to the original population. Kaya nga tinitignan mo yung mean ng selected parents minus yung mean ng overall parent in the population. Okay? So, yan. So, like a simple example, yung average broiler weight, like for example, is 1.5 kilograms. So, that's your uh, mean of the parental population, 1.5 kilograms. Yung mga selected breeders mo is 1.8 kilograms. Okay? So, 1.8 minus 1.5, that is a selection differential of around 0.3 kilograms. So, ano yung pagkaka-interpret mo nito? Your selected birds that are heavier than the average. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng selection differential. Because, again, sineselect mo yung mga animals that are heavier compared to the population. So, yan. Then, di ko pala na-discuss yung response to selection, how much improvement happened to the next generation. Okay? Yung selection differential is the parang difference or yung gaano ba ka better yung na-select mo na animals compared to the original population. Yun yung selection differential. Pag sinabi namang response to selection, ang meaning nun, how much improvement happened in the next generation. Okay? So, yan yung ibig sabihin niya. Then, ano ba yung relationship ng S at saka R? Yung S is yung selection differential and then yung R is your response to selection. So, there is a formula for that. Ito, heritability times yung selection natin. Okay? So, basically, na tinitignan dito na if trait is highly heritable, then there is a big improvement. If low heritability, then small lang yung improvement. Ganun. Okay? Agre-record na kapaw na lagi din ang binga.
Okay, so for the methods of selection, we can have it in two ways on the basis of phenotype at saka on the basis of the breeding value at saka average genetic value. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, you can look at the characteristics of the animal. Like for example, sa kanyang traits on, like for example, sa chicken, on the egg laying performance, on dairy, yung milk production niya. So you can look at the phenotype. But you can also look at the breeding value and the average genetic value of the animal in order to select those that are fit for your production system or those that are fit for breeding, kumbaga. So, ang sabi dito, while an animal's own performance is the most important basis for selection, selection can also be based on the records of the relatives and for several traits. So, ang ibig sabihin niyan, hindi lang iisa yung type of selection or hindi lang iisa yung method of selection. We have several method of selection that looks into the animal itself, in its performance, pero meron ding mga methods of selection na tinitignan yung records or yung pedigree ng animal in order to predict or in order to know yung breeding value or yung suitability ng animal for the specific breeding purposes. Okay, so yan yung mga two types or basis natin when it comes to selection. So first will be the individual selection. So as the name implies, um, basically you look into the individual. So wherein you go into like a population and then select those that you deem fit for your production or your breeding goals. So you look into the performance of the animal and then based on their performance you select. So usually for individual selection, it is utilized for those traits with high heritability. Pero yung problema dyan or yung ano lang dyan, condition lang dyan, but only when records are expressed by both sexes. Ang ibig sabihin yan, tinitignan mo when it comes to individual selection, yung mga traits that are highly heritable, pero you should also look into into the traits if they are both or if they manifest both for the male and female. So it use may lead to maximum genetic gain through a high accuracy of evaluation and short generation interval, although may be subject to management bias. So for individual selection daw, um, mama-maximize mo yung genetic gain or mai-improve mo talaga yung animal since you are looking into the specific animal itself. So merong degree of accuracy or high degree of accuracy when it comes to evaluating the animal itself, as well as because you're looking into the individual, then there's a short generational interval. Yung problema lang dito, it may be subjected to management bias. Ang ibig sabihin yan, baka meron ka ng natitipuhan and hindi mo na talaga na-evaluate through their traits, through their specific traits. Kasi nga, meron ka ng bias when it comes to the animal na gusto mo talagang kunin. So, it can be subjected to management bias since you are looking into individual animals. And before any selection happens, baka meron ka na talagang nakikita or natitipuhan na animal. So, yun. For individual selection, it is usually needed for the improvement of traits measured before puberty and have moderate to high heritability. So, yan. Please take note that for individual selection, yung mga traits na tinitignan mo are those that are measured dapat before puberty since you are looking into the traits of both that can manifest for both sexes. And then again, they should be highly heritable. So, because of that, hindi ka na makakakita actually ng mga traits that are low in heritability. Like for example, yung mga reproductive traits. So, if you're planning to select animals na maganda yung reproductive traits, then I think individual selection may not be the best na method of selection since reproductive traits are low in heritability. And then at the same time, it can be sex limited. So, yung reproductive traits. Okay? So, yan. Yan yung individual selection. Now we go sa family selection. So when we say family selection, it is based on the average of the families when it comes to their performance. As a parang difference or deviation from the population mean. So within a family, within a population, you have several families in there. And then you look not on the individual animal but on the family, on the specific families. So, tinitignan mo yung average ng mga magkakapamilya and from there on, um, ini-evaluate mo siya based on the average of the population. Parang ganun. Like for example, yung family na tinitignan mo, let's just say merong average na FCR na 1.8 and the population mean is may or yung average ng population when it comes to the FCR is 2.1. So meaning 1.8 yung family na tinitignan mo yung FCR, yung population 2.1, mas maganda yung FCR ng family. So, ganon yung pag-evaluate when it comes to family selection. So, this is useful when the heritability is low. And this is also useful for those sex-limited traits and carcass characteristics. So, dyan napapasok yung kung may tinitignan ka na traits that are low in heritability or meron kang tinitignan na traits that are sex-limited, then the best method that you can apply is family selection and not individual selection. Okay? Kasi when it comes to pag low kasi yung heritability, then titignan mo yung mga parents, yung mga magkakapamilya. Kasi mahihirapan kang mag-evaluate ng traits that are low in heritability if you are only looking at the offspring or in the individual. So mas maganda na family yung ano mo, yung titignan mo. So, when it comes to family selection, there are three subtypes. You have pedigree selection or testing. Basically, the parents, the progeny testing, the offspring, or the sibs, or the sib selection, or the siblings naman. So, basta tinitignan mo yung family, kumbaga. Okay? So, yeah. Now, when it comes to pedigree selection or testing, useful for initial selection for traits that are expressed in only one sex. So like for example, egg laying, milk production, information provides added accuracy in female evaluation, especially in evaluating traits with low heritability. Like the traits that I've mentioned, basta yung mga reproductive traits usually, sila yung mga mabababa yung heritability. So bakit ba tinitignan mo yung pedigree? Kasi sila yung merong just remember when it comes to selections, individual man or family selection, kailangan mo talaga ng accurate records. That is the importance ng record. Hindi mo makikita or hindi ka makakaselect, hindi ka apply ng mga methods of selection if wala kang accurate data or records. So in this case, sa pedigree selection or testing, you look into the family, the parents, mga ganun. And then tinitignan mo if maganda yung kanilang traits, especially for those that are expressed in only one sex. Then for progeny testing naman, evaluates the genotype of an animal on the basis of the average performance of its progenies. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, um, anong tawag nito? Tinitignan mo yung mga anak nila. So, for selection of males, when trait is measured in females only. Application in females is limited for progeny testing kasi nga um, ma mahaba yung interval when it comes to female. So, manganganak pa, hihintayin mo pa. Like, for example, for cattle, that's around 283 days. For pigs, that's around 114 days before. And then after that, you need to evaluate the offspring again. So, that's more or less 100 days pa, plus 100 days. So, mahaba masyado yung interval when it comes to females. Kaya, application is limited to females. For males kasi, since hindi sila yung nag-gestate or hindi sila yung nag-undergo ng process of gestation, okay lang. Mag-breed ka ngayon, magbe-breed ulit ng iba, magbe-breed ulit ng iba, then hihintayin mo lang na mga anak. So, mas madami kang data for that. Kaya nga, for selection of males yung, um, or for males, yung mas applicable itong progeny testing. So, yung ginagawa, yung mga anak ng mga animal na yun, tinitingnan nila if maganda yung performance for that specific trait. So, kung maganda yung performance for that specific trait, then meaning maganda din yung performance ng tatay nila. Okay? So, for selection of males when trait is measured in females only. So, ang ibig sabihin niyan, gusto mo na yung male, it carries the gene na maganda yung trait na nakikita lang sa female. So, parang, like for example, yung mga anak na babae, tinitignan mo kung maganda yung mga traits nila. So, makikita na, maganda tong male na ito, then you can say na isa-select mo siya. Parang ganun. Then, you go for SIB selection or testing applied to traits not measured on the animals evaluated. Lower accuracy of evaluation because of the effect of the interaction between genotype and the environment. So, you um, look into the siblings itself when it comes to that. So, hindi siya ganun hindi siya ganun ka-accurate kasi nga yung mga siblings can be subjected to different management and doon papasok yung interaction between the genotype and the environment. Kaya baka meron yung tinitingnan mo na sibling niya na animal is hindi yun yung na-receive or hindi sila magkaparehas ng na-receive ng management. So, it can affect yung trait na minamanifest nila. It can affect the phenotype na minamanifest nila, especially yung mga production traits. So, those are the types of selection natin. So, we also have what we call as methods of selection for several traits. So, we have what we call as the SI or the selection index. Add up the merit for each trait and arrive at a total score. So, basically, um, parang parang um, merong scoring system and then based on those scores, based on the sum of all of the score, then doon ka mag-a-arrive kung ano or kung sino yung pipiliin mo. So, ang ginagawa when it comes to selection index, select for all traits simultaneously by using same index or of merit constructed by adding into one figure the credits and penalties given each animal according to the degree of its superiority and inferiority in each trait. Basically, ang sinasabi lang dyan, when it comes to selection index, you have a criteria um, and then you have weighted criteria. Merong weight yung mga criteria. So basically, yung isang trait, mas mabigat kumbaga yung percentage compared to the other traits. May mga traits na mas mababa yung percentage ng scoring compared to the traits na mas mataas yung scoring kumbaga, mga ganun. So, pero ine-evaluate mo sila simultaneously. Itong trait number 1 with a 50% na weight, then ito yung score niya, mga ganun. Sa trait number 2, ito naman yung score niya with sabihin na lang natin 25% weight, mga ganun. So, based on that, kino-compute na, and then those computed values sinasum up, and then you have your selection, yung score mo for selection index. Okay, okay, so for when it comes to evaluating animals, we have what we call as the BLOP loop, or the best linear unbiased prediction. So ano nga ba yung bloop na tinatawag? Basically, it is a statistical method, as you can see on the equation. It is used, this is a statistical method used in animal science to actually estimate yung parang true genetic value of the animal. So, in simple term, yung itong equation na ito, itong y, this is what we observe. So, like for example, yung body weight, yung production traits niya, itong part na ito, this is known as the effect, or this is the known effect. Like for example, ano yung effect niya when it comes to the different feeds na binibigay, the management, the environment na tinitignan. Itong part na ito, this is the genetic effect, or this is what we want to estimate, and then ito, this is yung random error or yung mga uncontrolled factors. So you add all of them up, basically ang sinasabi dito is performance is equal to the environment plus the genetics plus some errors. So what does itong loop na tinatawag mean? Best meaning minimum error variance, or what best meaning it gives the most accurate estimate, okay, for that breeding value for that animal. Basically lowest error, kumbaga, kaya siya tinawag na best. Meron namang linear because the prediction estimates are linear functions of the observation. Since we are using straight mathematical relationship, you add all of these factors together, then linear lang siya. Then unbiased, expected values of estimates is equal to their true value. Basically, it does not favor or overestimate yung mga animals natin. Kaya unbiased. Kaya tinawag siyang best linear unbiased prediction. So, why do we use itong bloop na to? We use bloop to first predict yung breeding value ng isang animal. Basically, when we are predicting yung breeding value, saan doon sa animals yung mas genetically superior, kumbaga. So, dyan papasok yung bloop. Then, track genetic improvement over time. So, as well as estimate how much yung improvement we can expect from the selection. Yun yung una. And then, aside from that, it can also separate yung genetics from the environment. Kaya nga, ina-account natin yung errors as well as ina-account natin yung known na mga effect ng environment. So, that's one. And then, an easy way to parang discuss itong bloop na ito is that itong bloop helps us answer yung mga questions like, is this animal really good, or ito bang animal na ito maganda ba talaga siya genetically, or itong animal na ito maganda lang siya kasi nga it is raised in a good environment. Yun yung tanong na pwedeng i-answer ng bloop natin. Maganda ba siya genetically, or maganda ba siya because of the environment? Okay, so yan. So, as a summary, itong bloop na to, it is a tool to fairly compare yung mga animals and select the best breeders based on their true genetics, and not because of the effect of the environment, or not because of the effect of the any errors, kumbaga. So, yan yung bloop natin. Now, we have what we call as the breeder's favorite equation. So, you have yung change, genetic gain, is equal to the selection intensity plus the selection accuracy plus the genetic variance divided by the generation interval. So, ano nga ba yung genetic gain? Basically, when we say genetic gain, this is the improvement in the animal's genetics over time. So, kaya nga genetic gain. meron bang improvement doon sa genes ng animal as over time, as you select them, as you do breeding methods, meron bang improvement? So, yun yung itong part na ito. Ito yung tinitignan ng breeder. This is what breeders want. When it comes to genetic gain, better growth, higher egg production, improved traits, yun yung tinitignan. Um, when it comes naman sa selection intensity, itong I, how strict you are in choosing the animals. Yun, kaya nga intensity. So, basically, only the best are selected, kumbaga. Then, for selection accuracy, gaano ka ka-sure or how sure are you that the selected animals are truly the best? Okay? Yun yung selection accuracy. Dito papasok yung bloop na tinatawag kasi nga nami-minimize yung errors when it comes to that. So, mas higher yung accuracy mo. And then itong genetic variation naman or genetic variance, the amount of genetic differences in the population. So, since you're not looking into the individual lang itself and the population, ano ba yung genetic difference ni itong sineselect mo na animal with that of the population mean. So, yan yung genetic variation or genetic variance. So, meaning if there are more variation, more room for improvement, kumbaga. Then, yung T or the generation interval, how long does it take to produce the next generation? Ang ibig sabihin lang nito, shorter time meaning faster progress. So, all in all, genetic improvement depends on how good your selection is as well as how fast you breed the next generation. So, um, ito yung parang tinitignan, animal breeders equation kasi ina-account na lahat from or tinitingnan na yung improvement ng genes ng isang animal na sineselect nila. And ina-account na kung gaano ka-intensive yung selection, gaano ka-accurate yung selection. Ina-account na din yung difference between the population as well as the interval. So, kaya yun. Ang ibig sabihin nito, better selection plus better accuracy plus more variation plus faster breeding equals faster genetic improvement. Yun yung equation na ito. Okay? Then we have factors affecting genetic improvement. So first will be how heritable is the trait under selection. So yun yung una. Kumbaga, meron tayo yung low heritability, medium heritability, and high heritability. So based on your breeding goal kasi, makikita naman yung genetic improvement over time. If it is highly heritable, then makikita mo na siya on your F1 generations. But or if it is low heritable, then you need to account for different methods of selection. Like for example, sa family selection ka na pupunta. So, ang daming factor, sa factor pa lang yan, dun sa heritability ng animal, dapat ma-adjust mo na yung breeding or yung selection method na gagawin mo in order to know kung meron bang genetic improvement. Then, second, how much genetic variation for the trait is there in the population? Diyan papasok yung sinabi ko doon sa last slide when it comes to genetic variation. Ano yung difference nung um, mean average ng traits ng population between doon sa tinitignan mo na animal. Then, what is the average accuracy of the estimated breeding value and thus the accuracy of selection? So, is it high? Is it low? Kung lower, then lower din yung accuracy ng selection. So, what portion of the animals will be selected for breeding? As well as in case of genetic gain is to be expressed per year rather than per generation, how long is a generation? So, those are the factors that you need to consider and it explain actually yung equation natin last slide. Ito yung mga factors that you are actually or ito yung mga factors that you need to consider in order to have any genetic gains or in order to know yung genetic improvement or genetic gain ng isang animal. Okay, on the last will be the reproductive biotechnologies. Ang ano lang nito, ano yung mga technology when it comes to the reproduction or when it comes to reproduction, when it comes to the breeding of the animal. Okay? So, we have here some na ano, I suggest that you actually look deeper into these reproductive biotechnologies in the internet. Pero usually yung una will be artificial insemination. Ito yung pinaka-accessible kumbaga. Ito yung pinaka-popular, pinaka-accessible even with ordinary farmers. Compare it to like for example embryo transfer or MOET or even multiple ovulation. Ordinary farmers cannot do that or cannot actually or have no access for that. But for artificial insemination, which is the process of collecting semen from a male animal and then manually depositing it into the female reproductive tract, that is basically the very parang pinaka-accessible na that ordinary farmers can actually do it. Then, aside from the artificial insemination, we have multiple ovulation. Ang ibig sabihin lang ng multiple ovulation, a process by which females are induced simultaneously to ovulate. Specifically, to ovulate more eggs than what it is normally shed. Ang ibig sabihin nito, um, ginagawa yung multiple ovulation in order to manage yung breeding herd uh, efficiently and much easier. Kasi nga, sabay-sabay, almost sabay-sabay silang mag-ovulate. So meaning, um, mas mas madali mo na silang i-manage since sabay-sabay na sila na mag-ovulate, sabay na silang mabre-breed, kumbaga, and then at the same time, when it comes to gestation, sabay-sabay na sila. So, yung management actually is much easier pag nag-ovulate sila simultaneously. Aside from that, because it will ovulate more eggs, then higher chances na magiging pregnant yung animal. Then for embryo transfer, an embryo is collected from a donor and then transferred into a recipient where the embryo completes its development. Basically, meron kang male and female, nag-mate sila, and then nabuo yung embryo doon sa female. Pero kukunin doon and then ilalagay doon sa donor or surrogate mother yung tawag. So that's embryo transfer. At as the name implies, you transfer the embryo from the donor female to the surrogate female or surrogate mother. Then you have yung MOET or yung multiple ovulation embryo transfer. So for ovulation and transfer of embryos to hormonally synchronized recipient animals to complete yung genetic improvement nila. So reproduction is the backbone of animal production and production is the key to development. So important itong mga biotechnology because basically itong biotechnology sila yung parang technique that uses living organisms to make or even modify yung and even improve yung products nila. So maganda itong mga technologies na ito and I hope that in the near future hindi lang artificial insemination yung accessible na sa atin. So ito, kumbaga yung MOET, you can look into the diagram on the paano ginagawa. From the selection of donor animals to the ovulation, superovulation, to the AI, and then embryo flashing. So that's the process for the MOET. And then you have cloning. So basically, when we say cloning, it is the production of genetically identical animals. So um, basically sa cloning kasi, it does not change the genetic makeup of the animal. But it only accelerates yung generation interval and provides basically highly reliable mechanism to produce mga superior livestock which can replace animals of the parang average productivity. Basically, clone mo siya, yung mga magaganda, para makaproduce ka ng superior na livestock na pwede mong i-replace doon sa mga inferior na livestock. So, meaning meron kang through cloning, meron kang genetic gain na um, makikita or genetic improvement na makikita. So, yan yung cloning natin. Okay, so with that, that ends our video lecture for the um, genetics and animal breeding. So, from this point forward, since these are video lectures, I hope that you will watch this and then I will upload this sa MBLE together with some practice questions, practice exams on my part only. So, hindi ko sure sa part nung ibang TSEP ninyo sa Ansay, if saan na kayo, pero I will be uploading questions, practice questions on the topics that I have discussed. So again, I hope that you will review. This will be the last video lecture that I will make for TSEP and good luck sa test ninyo. So I hope na makakapasa kayong lahat.